Section 4 of The Whys of Cooking by Janet McKenzie Hill. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Betty B. Section 4. Serving. The effect of properly cooked food may be almost entirely lost by lack of care in its serving. The proper serving of food relates not only to its actual disposal on the serving dish, but has reference to the appearance and temperature of the room in which it is served. The manner in which the table is laid and the furnishings of the table may make or mar a meal. To say that we eat with our eyes should not be called an exaggeration, for if food be presented in a neat, orderly, and pleasing manner, its appearance will cause a flow of the digestive juices, not only occasion an appetite for food, but supply the ability to digest it. Food in individual portions should be disposed on a serving dish to present a symmetrical outline. The dish should not look crowded, and at least 1/3 of the space should be free from even a garnish. Let hot food be presented hot, and cold food properly chilled. Russian, English, and compromise services. 3 forms of table service are recognized: the English, the Russian, and the compromise, which is a combination of the other 2. The Russian style of service is formal, and is attempted in full only when the attendants are skillful and numerous. In this form of service no food, save bonbons, relishes, or salted nuts, appears upon the table. Everything is served from the side. Good Russian service implies that no one at table be obliged to ask for anything he needs. Thus, if one is to eat a dish with a sauce, the same must immediately follow the dish. Rolls, water, butter, sauces, and salads must be supplied at the instant they are desired. To attend to the wants of 6 or 8 people at table, at least one attentive, skillful maid will be needed, besides the cook. The food separated into individual portions is either set down from the right hand before those at table, or, plates being in place, the food separated into individual portions is passed to the left of each, that each may help himself or be helped by the one in attendance. Dishes of food are not set down upon the table, but are returned to the serving table or the pantry, from which place they are taken when a second helping is desired. When true English service is essayed, all the food belonging to one course, as meat, hot vegetables, green salad, bread, is set upon the table, and served from it, the plates being passed by a maid. It is then cleared away before another course is brought in. When the compromise service is used, some courses, as a choice vegetable or a salad, are served from the table, English style, and some are brought in from the pantry in individual portions and set in place, Russian style. In brief, food served English style is served from the table; served Russian style, it is served from the side, while a combination of the 2 is the compromise style. Let your dining table be not too highly polished, but well built and as handsome a piece of furniture as your conscience will allow. Economize on some other piece of furniture. For linen, use doilies, runners, or a cloth for breakfast and luncheon, but choose a fine damask cloth for the serious business of dining. Send, if you must, all other articles to the public laundry, but have table linen laundered at home. When laying the table, first of all protect it by some sort of an inner covering. A silence cloth of table padding, or an asbestos mat, the exact size of the table, covered with cotton, are used under a damask cloth. Small covered pads are used under doilies. In laundering a tablecloth, fold once lengthwise exactly through the center, then when ironed, roll on a pasteboard cylinder. Let the cloth hang the same distance from the floor on all sides. Let floral decorations accord with the size of the table and the style of service. From 1 to 3 small blossoms are all that is desirable on a table less than 5 feet in diameter. Laying the table and the cover. No matter what the style of serving, with or without a maid, the laying of the table, as far as the covers are concerned, is always the same. By cover is meant the place plate. plate which marks the place of an individual, glasses, silver and napkin to be used by each individual. The covers on opposite sides of the table should be directly opposite each other, or, in case of an odd number, equally distant from each other. The place plates, at least 10 inches in diameter, should be set at the center of the cover, 1 inch from the edge of the table. At the right of the plate lay the knife, soup spoon, and fork for oysters or hors d'oeuvres in the order of use. The one first used farthest from the plate. The cutting edge of the knife should be towards the plate, the bowl of the spoon upwards. At the left of the plate set the forks, tines upward, the one first used farthest from the plate, with the napkin beyond it. If a maid be in attendance, the silver for the dessert should be set in place after the table is cleared for the dessert course. At a meal where no knife is required, as often at Sunday night tea, or a chafing dish spread, place the fork at the right hand. If only one other piece of silver be required, as dessert spoon or fork, set this, also, at the right, the one first used farthest from the plate. Do not crowd the several articles of the cover. Let them lie rather compactly and in such manner that the whole may form a separate unit in the center of 20 to 30 inches of space. At the point of the knife set the glass of water. The bread and butter plate or the tiny chip for butter is set at the left of the glass. Bread and butter plates are for home use, and especially at breakfast and luncheon. Butter is not supposed to be needed at dinner, and only the tiny chip is in evidence. The place for the spreader is across the top of the plate, handle towards the right. Salt and pepper receptacles are set between each two covers. Suggestions on serving meals without a maid. With one exception, the laying of the table, as far as the covers are concerned, is always the same whether a maid or a member of the family is to serve the meal. When the meal is served by someone sitting at table, all flat silver is to be used during the meal is given a place on the table when it is laid. Silver for the dessert may be set above the plate, handles toward the right. This is the preferred position. The only other position possible, as the dessert is served last, is between the knife for the roast and the plate. This disposal of the silver is in accordance with the accepted custom of placing flat silver in the order of its use, the piece first used farthest from the plate. This position for the small pieces of silver used with the dessert detracts from the symmetry of the cover, and it seems preferable to dispose it above the plate. When a maid is in attendance, flat silver for the sweet course is set in place just before serving this course. As far as possible, save those in the final sweet course. Every article of food that is not to be kept hot for a time should be set in place on the table before the call to the meal is given. Plates of hot and cold bread, a reserved supply of butter, pitcher of water, cream and sugar, jelly, relishes, and all condiments that are liable to be called for should be grouped upon the table in a symmetrical manner. Just before announcing the meal, fill the glasses with water, set individual dishes of butter in place. Then, while the family is assembling, bring in the coffee or tea, if it is to be served at the beginning of the meal, and such other hot dishes as are provided, on a wheel tray or on a small light table on casters. After the substantial course is eaten, the wheel tray is at hand for the removal of all food from the table, and the used china and silver. In a large family, remove the food first and return with the wheel tray for the dishes. Then crumb the table, and on again returning to the dining room bring in, on the tray, the dessert and the china for its service. The wheel tray lessens the trips to and from the kitchen. Often in a small family, and where the hot dish is the one served first, the second course with china may stand on the tray at the left hand of the mistress of the house, and she need not rise from the table until the close of the meal. Whys of serving. In general. 1. Why use a silence cloth under a tablecloth? Answer. An inner covering over a table protects the table, insures against noise, and improves the appearance of even the choicest damask. 2. Why sometimes use doilies or runners instead of a tablecloth? Answer. Doilies and runners are more easily laundered than tablecloths. In case of accident, the table is more easily restored to a good condition. With a rectangular shaped table, runners suitable for two covers on opposite sides of the table, and a dish, as bread, between them are very satisfactory. 3. Why are the knives, soup spoon, and hors d'oeuvre fork set at the right of the plate, and all other forks at the left of the plate? Answer. The silver set at the right of the plate is that which is to be used with the right hand. The silver at the left of the plate is that which is to be used with the left hand. If no knives are needed, the dishes presented being such as are eaten with forks, at a Sunday night tea, chafing dish spreads, etc., the forks would be set at the right of the plate. 4. Why is the silver laid in order of use, the piece first used farthest from the plate? Answer. This method of laying the table, being widely known and followed, settles the question as to the piece of silver to be used for each course as it appears on the table. Also, as the silver thus laid is used and removed, the cover is left in a neat and compact hole. 5. Why, in refilling a glass of water, should the glass be drawn to the edge of the table by the bottom of the glass, or if the table is crowded, be lifted by the bottom of the glass? Answer. Because the hand of the attendant should not come in contact with the top of the glass. 6. Why should a tray be used to pass cream and sugar or two relishes? Answer. Several small dishes may be passed at one time on a tray, which otherwise would have to be passed separately. 7. Why not serve each vegetable in an individual dish? Answer. Small dishes cumber the table, make work, and with the exception of chilled plates for salad, served with the fish or roast, serve no essential purpose. 8. Why, as far as possible, should all piles of plates be eliminated from the table at which people are sitting? Answer. Piles of plates obstruct the view, and are in the way of the one who carves or serves. In serving without a maid, the plates may be set on a wheel tray or small table at the side of the table. In serving English fashion, the maid brings two plates, one in each hand, sets the one in her left hand before the carver, takes up the filled plate and sets it before the one for whom it is prepared. She returns with one plate, which she exchanges for the prepared plate waiting for her, and so continues. Whys of serving Russian style. 1. Why use a damask cloth over a silence cloth for the dinner table? Answer. Dinner is the principal meal of the day, and calls for as formal and dignified accessories as the style of living permits, and a table completely covered with white carries out this idea. 2. Why, in serving a meal Russian style, is nothing set upon the table at any time save the china and silver belonging to the individual covers, the flowers, bonbons, and perhaps salted nuts? Answer. All of the food is served by the attendants, and they can take the food from side tables and pantry more easily than from the table at which the guests are seated. Also, a dish is no addition to the appearance of the table after part of it has been served. 3. Why sometimes make an exception in favor of a fruit cocktail, choice strawberries, prepared grapefruit, or raw oysters served in a first course? Answer. This first course set in place before announcing the meal adds to the decorative character of the table, and may be considered as a part of the table decoration. 4. Why are serving tables at either end of the dining room almost a necessary feature in a well-equipped dining room? Answer. Serving tables at the ends of the dining room make for efficiency and quick service. 5. Why should food prepared on individual plates be set down at the right hand of those seated at table, and a platter of food from which one is to help himself or be helped be presented at the left hand? Answer. Seated at table, one cannot help himself easily to anything presented at his right hand. End of section 4.